I'm CK. Tonight we've got what I think will be a fun little kit. It's a digital water clock. At least that's how the author describes it, and you'll see when it's in operation how it can be considered analogous to an ancient water clock. It's a simple kit, looks pretty much straightforward and fun. Got it from Amazon for $8. Product consists of 20 blue LEDs. After the power is turned on, the LEDs emit light in a clockwise order, forming an LED water light. And it's for training and soldering, and for looking at the circuit and learning. I like these kinds of kits. We'll see how good this one is as we put it together. Hope you enjoy it. So let's see what we have here. We have a piece of paper, which gives the schematic and the parts list with locations, which is good. An email address to contact the person on. Then on the back, the working principle, and that'll be good when we get it all together. And to keep in mind, from the listing on Amazon, it can not only develop skills for welding learning, soldering training, but also complete a funning LED flashing light to bring fun to life. And we always want to bring fun to life. So a water clock is considered to be one of the first timekeeping methods. The principle being you have a bowl and a graduated outlet from the bowl, in other words a hole of a particular size. You put water in it and it flows into another bowl, and it takes a certain period of time for the water to leave, and that's repeatable. So every time you refill it, it's going to empty at the same rate. So, you know, instead of minutes, you'd say it's going to take 3 bowls for me to be able to finish your harness. I don't know, something. But this is the same principle. It'll be a series of LEDs that turn on over time. 20 of them. So it's a repeatable time for 20 lights to go up, and then they all go off and repeat. So we'll see what this is like. What's in the bag? Got a battery holder for 2 AA batteries. Here's the circuit board itself. Let's take a look at it. We had a little crisis a couple of minutes ago. I couldn't find my pointer, and I need my pointer. The LEDs go here. Transistor, resistor, transistor, resistor, transistor, resistor, transistor, resistor. Rinse and repeat. Excuse me. Some more resistors up here. A bank of capacitors. Some diodes stacked up. Switch. Actually, no, the switch is here. Power comes in here. There's a 100K variable resistor here. I guess I'm going to make the assumption that you can change the rate at which the lights illuminate with that. Another transistor, a couple more capacitors, etc., and 1 IC. So it's a pretty straightforward build, simple build. As you can see from the back, it's a little tight, so an absolute beginner, this might be good for the second or third project that a young person is getting into as they hone their soldering or welding prowess. Bag with all the electronic components, and yeah, all the electronic components. Another bag with 2 screws which probably go through here, and we can, I don't know, maybe we can mount the battery pack on the back. Yeah, I think that's what we'll be able to do. Let me check the hole alignment. Yep, holes line up, so we can put the battery pack right on the back of this thing once we're done. Now the next interesting thing will be, let's take a look at this, the integrated circuit that comes with this, and see whether it's got custom code in it or whether it's an off-the-shelf timer part. More Ziploc bags. I have so many Ziploc bags. All the 10Ks, all the 330s, then the diodes, and the part. I don't recognize the manufacturer logo, but let's look it up. It is a Charlie Delta 4017 Bravo Echo. And it's a standard TI part, even though that logo, the logo on here does not look like a legit Texas Instrument logo. I think this may be a little thievery going on here. Oh, and it's a decade counter. So it's simply a counter. So it's pretty simple. Let me get my soldering pad. And we'll go through the traditional exercise. Resistors first, then transistors, then capacitors, then I'll do the LEDs. And since this is all pretty straightforward, I mean resistors, diodes, capacitors, we'll do it in a pretty standard way. Resistors, diodes, transistors, capacitors, then the extra stuff. And since this is a relatively straightforward kit, I'm not going to have much commentary as it goes together, because I don't see any particular thing to talk about here. So enjoy the background music while I work in fast motion. And there we are, all the soldering done. You might have noticed I made one little change in the LED 20 position. I put a red LED, I grabbed one out of my bench stock and put it in there. Thought that might make it a little more fun. when it gets all the way around, boom, that's the end of that cycle. Now just got 2 more things to do. Put the decade counter IC in. Make sure we get it in the right way. And then I am gonna mount the battery box on the back. So besides the one blue LED I didn't end up using, they did include a spare. So if anything happens to be burnout, we're good. Of course, like many of us, I've got bags of LEDs. This is a pretty good kit. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. Actually, I'm completely pleased with it. I don't see any real problems with it. AA batteries in it. So I'm going to turn the overhead light off so we can see the LEDs a little better. One of the things I really like about this kit is the modularity and the way the schematic works. Here's the simplest part, a simple oscillator that's got a variable, a resistor to change its frequency, and that's feeding the clock pin on the decade counter, and the decade counter is of course lighting up each pin as it hits a certain count. And then there's individual circuits for the LED pairs, and again, it's very, very understandable for a beginner, and you can find resources online to understand each component. And then even on the circuit board itself, the oscillator circuit is all contained here. The decade chip obviously there, and then the controls to turn on and off the LED pairs are very, very clearly delineated. Again, it's a very, very nice schematic. Now we'll turn the light off and we'll turn the switch on and watch her go, hopefully. Well, that's not exciting. Nothing is happening. Well, that's disappointing. Huh. Doing the check to see nothing obvious is wrong. All the diodes are installed correctly. All the transistors are facing the right way. All the LEDs are installed properly. The chip has the notch going the right way. Transistors all look good. I'm going to fire up the meter and see what we can figure out here. First thing first is we'll take a look at whether it's getting any power. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take the screws out and cut the battery pack loose. Oops. So we have a little more room to get at the traces and see what's going on. I'll just take it up. As I turned it over, something worked for a second there. So there is something. Maybe it only works upside down. No, it can't be that, but we got to figure out what it is. Okay, well, I got it working. So it may have been shorting on something on the back. Let's adjust the rate. Yeah, that makes it go much faster. And as you can see, I misread the schematic. These are lighting up pairs of LEDs, and I've only got, and these are obviously the blue that they had and the red that I included are obviously different voltages, so they're not both lighting up. So I'm going to fix that real quick. And there we go. Adjust the time a little bit. Much slower there. And again, there's lots of good resources online to describe this little oscillator circuit. It's very fundamental. And controlling it with this voltage here instead of voltage and capacitor is pretty simple. Construction, the soldering is not bad at all. The board is moderately good. It's not a great, this is a really good beginner kit. I endorse this quite a bit, and you end up with kind of a fun little thing to set on your bench top or your dresser drawer at night or whatever. I don't want to sound too nostalgic, but I built something like this, a little random neon tube flasher when I was a kid in like 1970, and I had it on in my room like from age 11 when I built it till when I finally lost it for some reason or other, just keeping me company. So little things like this are fun for beginner builders because they've got them and it does something. So I highly endorse this kit, and I hope you had an enjoyable time watching the build. Thanks for watching.